Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to you all. Today we're going to dive into a really powerful section of the Quran, verses 36 through 70 of Surah Nisa. This passage gives us this incredible blueprint for building a society that's really rooted in justice, sincere faith, and a deep sense of social responsibility. So let's jump right in.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the absolute pillars of a just community. Then we'll get into the warnings against the things that can tear it all down. After that, we'll explore what true submission really means at its core. And finally, we'll discover the ultimate prize, the best companionship imaginable. So what's amazing is that right from the get-go, the text makes this super clear connection between our private faith and our public actions. It's basically saying, hey, real worship isn't just something you feel inside. It has to show up in how you treat the people around you. Okay, and check this out. What's so powerful about this verse is the order of things. It kicks off with the number one most important thing, pure monotheism, and then boom, it flows right into this whole chain of social duties. It's not an either-or situation. They're two sides of the same coin. It's like a literal roadmap for how to build a compassionate society. And that core idea, that bedrock, has a name: Tawheed. This is the central pillar, the very heartbeat of Islam. It's that unwavering belief in the absolute oneness of God. You can think of it like the concrete foundation of a skyscraper. Every single thing we're about to talk about is built on this. If that's not solid, the whole building of your faith, well, it's just going to crumble. And this is where you really see how that responsibility works. It's like ripples in a pond. It starts with the people closest to you, your parents. Then it expands out to your relatives, to the most vulnerable members of society like orphans and the needy. And it keeps going to your neighbors, both close and far, your friends, and even strangers just passing through. It really is this complete picture of what a truly caring community looks like. All right, so after painting this beautiful picture of a just and caring society, the text does something really important. It pivots and warns us about the things that can destroy it all from the inside out. These are kind of like the termites in the woodwork of the community. And it gets super specific about these toxic traits. You've got arrogance and boastfulness, which just erase any good you do. Then there's stinginess, and what's wild is it's not just about being stingy yourself, but actually pushing others to be that way too. And of course, showing off just for praise and hiding the blessings God gave you because of envy. These aren't just little character flaws, they're social poisons. And this leads to a really important point the passage makes about giving charity. It all comes down to one thing: why are you doing it? So you've got sincere charity, which is all for God and the hereafter, rooted in real belief. And then you have what you could call performative charity, doing it just so people will see you and think you're great. The guidance couldn't be clearer. One path is from God, the other, well, that's from Satan. Now, this whole act of showing off has a specific term for it: riyah. And, it might seem subtle, but it is a huge deal. The reason it's so strongly condemned is because it poisons the very core of the action, your intention. It takes something beautiful that was meant for God and turns it into an empty performance for a human audience. So, sticking with this idea of sincerity, the passage now gets to the absolute biggest corruption of faith. Think of it this way: if riyah is like a poison that spoils a single good deed, this next thing, it's like a poison that attacks the very root system of your entire faith. And that is shirk, associating partners with God. And you'll notice this is the polar opposite of tawheed, that first principle we talked about. It's framed as the one sin that if you die on it without repenting, God won't forgive. Why? Because it just shatters the entire foundation of your relationship with Him. Okay, so this brings us to what I'd call the climax of this whole section. We've talked about what to do, what not to do. Now we're getting to the very heart of it all. What does it actually mean to be a believer and submit to God's authority? And the text gives us a super clear practical system for this. The hierarchy is clear. First, you obey Allah, then His messenger, then the people in authority among you. But what if there's a dispute? What do you do then? The answer is just as simple. You take it back to the source, to Allah and the messenger. That's the system to keep everything just and unified. So that's the framework, and it's super important. But the verses go even deeper than that. It basically poses the question, okay, beyond just following the instructions, what is the true test of faith? How do you really know you're a believer? And the answer is, wow, it's just so profound, It says that you haven't truly believed until you can accept a judgment. And not just accept it, but find zero, absolutely no, discomfort or resistance in your heart about it. It's about a complete, willing, peaceful submission. That's the difference between just saying you believe and truly feeling it deep down.
All right, so as we wrap up, we get to our final section where the text lays out the consequences. It's all about the choice you make and where it leads, and it couldn't be clearer. It presents two very, very different outcomes. So on one side, for those who turn away from this guidance, there's an intense description of punishment. But on the other side, for the ones who believe and do the right thing, there's the promise of paradise, gardens, peace, eternal bliss. The contrast is just, it's stark, and it's meant to really make you think. But here's the thing. The passage then reveals a reward that's maybe even deeper than that. The ultimate reward isn't just about where you'll be. It's about who you'll be with. It's about the company you'll keep forever. And wow, what amazing company that is. The ultimate prize for obeying God and the messenger is to be with the best of the best. The prophets, the people of absolute truth, the siddiqun, the martyrs, and all the righteous people. That right there, that's presented as the greatest gift, the biggest honor you could ever receive from God. And that's where we'll leave it, with this incredible unifying idea. You see, this whole journey we've been on, from being good to your neighbor all the way to purifying your most private intentions, it's all pointing towards this one amazing goal. And it leaves us with a question to really ponder. What does it take in my day-to-day life to actually earn a spot in that incredible company?